The problem with black's position is they just can't move any of their pieces. Okay, hello, welcome back to another video. Today playing e4 as per usual, and we see e5. Okay, not f3 here. My opponent says hello in the chat. I'm just gonna hit them with a scotch and then respond hello. They're trying to get friendly. Perhaps that's another subscriber. The hustle never stops. They play bishop c5. Will they play queen f6? That would be lovely. I would heavily appreciate queen f6 here, which is the mainline scotch. However, the hesitancy here either suggests they're typing in the chat or they're not familiar with the mainline. And I don't know if getting the queen out this early is something that happens intuitively or actually you sort of need to know. But it attacks the knight again. It develops the queen to a point where long term it's putting pressure there. Awesome. Okay, this is the mainline scotch. Best move here, or book move rather, in the main line is c3, then knight g7, etc. However, the Blumenfeld Scotch, knight to b5, which is this is my favorite position in chess. There are so many ways for black to blunder here, and what is chess if not giving your opponent opportunities to blunder? So, best move and actually only real move here is bishop takes the bishop on e3. Otherwise, your opponent's bishop hangs. This threat of the knight fork here hangs, and yeah, we can't run with that. So recapture this bishop. Now, 3 moves. Here, here, and here. These are the moves that I see. The best move... Oh dear. And they've fallen straight into a Scotch Blumenfeld trap. The queen here looks like it's about to take a rook. However, we can of course move the knight. We could move it to d2, and that wouldn't hang this knight, and we'd hold the rook, and the pawn would be held, etc. However, in this variation, this is actually an incredibly poisoned pawn, because we can play knight to c3 here, controlling a3, and if you look at the queen, it actually doesn't have anywhere to go except from b4 here. So if they play queen b4, then we can deliver this fork. But if they don't play queen b4, we're just going to play rook b1 and trap the queen. The knight will hold this pawn, the knight will hold the rook, the queen will hold the pawn here as well, and the queen is going to be trapped. So my opponent is probably worrying about this. There we go, they find queen to b4, awesome. But now we take on here, forking, and when the king moves here, it's important not to get greedy in this line. So this is move 9, still in theory, or rather still in preparation. This is not theory because black has blundered. You cannot get greedy and take this rook, however, because then black takes on here and they get, a lot of compensation because you can't block with queen, otherwise you lose your rook. So the move to play here, I believe, is actually queen d2. So I'm going to go for queen d2 straight away, breaking this pin, and you think, oh no, what about the knight? Well, if king takes knight, you can actually play knight d5 and fork the queen and king, because the queen is in such an unfortunate position here on b4. So I can't remember if you're supposed to play queen d3 or queen d2. I believe queen d2 just makes more sense. I mean, you break the pin here. You also don't impede your bishop from developing at all. So now the rook moves. Okay. We are much better here. We've dislodged the king. We've got this pawn. The rooks had to move, so there's going to be no castling. I think, are completely winning, but I now need to prove why. This is where I'm now out of my preparation, I'll be honest. A lot of people just take this and blunder the game. So I'm going to play knight d5, I think. But then the queens could get traded. Actually, don't know how I feel about that. Probably not good, because kind of want my queen on the board. So actually, I might go for rook b1, which could be strong. Okay, we're going to bring the rook to the b file. I mean, activating the rook with tempo on the queen, unpinning the knight. The knight isn't pinned to the king anymore, obviously, but I'd rather not trade queens. I'd rather keep a lot of activity and keep as many pieces on the board as possible, because this king is very weak, and I'm hopefully going to be able to move my bishop somewhere out on this diagonal, and then castle kingside, and actually black's king will be weak and mine will be tucked safely on g1. And so the small price to pay for these doubled central pawns is fine. Okay, we now have to worry about this. There is a move. No, there's not a move. well, I'm sure there's a move, but I was about to say queen d6, but that does just blunder the knight completely. But queen d6 is sometimes a nice move here. I can't work out whether I should drop this knight back or push this knight forward. I mean, again, I don't really want to trade the queens. But I can't afford to play something like rook b5 because then you can just take here. So I think I'm just going to drop back. Controlling these sort of escape hatches for the king, so it's pinned to the back rank. But also now a move like rook b5 might be kind of funny. I'm sure I haven't played this perfectly. However, I do know I played this perfectly up until here and maybe queen d2. Now, I'm not sure about rook b1. I probably should have just gone for castling kingside early. However, I don't know. I don't really mind. Okay, if this knight takes, I'm going to be able to put this knight here or even resolve my double pawns. So don't mind that. I think I'm just going to move this. I'm going to move to e2. Am I? Maybe? Who knows? I could go here and here. That'd be quite funny. I'm going to move to e2 because I just want to castle, connect the rooks, get the rook on the open f file, etc. I don't want to put my bishop out here because I think actually it might want to swing this way, and I want to give sort of both options to go either way. It's almost the most the most ambiguous on e2. Doesn't really telegraph any game plan to my opponent. I could have gone bishop b5 maybe, but I don't really want to trade this off. I do want to trade this off. What am I talking about? Because if I take, you can't take with this because this, and if you take with this, then this opens. Okay, right. That's an idea I should definitely go for. Oh no, but now if I take with knight, the queen's going to get traded. And I don't think I'm a big fan. I'm going to take with pawn. Which, I mean, after knight here, we castle. Black's king's still stuck in the center. But I think I might have missed a trick there. Here, bishop here. But then takes. Oh no, but at least he takes here. Okay, probably didn't miss a trick, but still slightly annoyed that I missed that general game plan. But I mean, this knight's attacked. This is all still looking very good. We're going to basically have the major pieces here on open or semi-open files. Except from, the d file isn't really, but the d file is, soon to be. Okay, now I can play this, and that is just too tempting not to play. Sorry, but if you give me the opportunity to play d6, yeah, I mean, yeah, let's just do it. Now we just have a pawn on d6, which means this pawn just cannot be pushed. I can castle after. It does give the knight back here, but I don't really think it's doing anything there. I don't think there was a need to play this, but actually, I mean, I could maybe even go for this and put the knight back here now, but I'm just going to castle first. Threaten to take on f7, and yeah, my rooks are super active, super strong. And I've still got rook b5 as a rook lift as well, actually, that's quite funny. So we see f6, okay. Now, how do I go about improving my position? It's a great question. Should I play rook b5? You know what, there's no harm in rook b5. There just can't be. I mean, there probably can be, but the queen can't, like, yeah, I was going to say, it's got like 2 squares. And this doesn't really come with any tempo. I could always play rook b3 and basically force the queen straight back to where it came from there. I actually have a draw. That's pretty funny. We're obviously not going to draw this. We are 100% fighting for the win here. How do I get my queen involved? Because I really feel like my queen should be involved here. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm not really seeing the best way to actually create something. I could try and trap the queen. Oh, rook f4. Awesome move. To play rook a4 and trap the queen with my rooks being held here. I guess the problem with black's position is they just can't move any of their pieces. Like, what? They've got a knight and a queen that they're working with. And while they're down no material, technically speaking, you just can't really move these pieces. You physically can't move the bishop. This rook, I guess, can activate, but oh, whoa, bang. You take this, I take this. But bang, you take this. I take this. You take this. Wait, whoa. No. Yes? No. I have no idea what's going on. If I play this move, I trap the queen. But after takes, pawn takes here. Here. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I sort of need the rook to hold this square though. I could go here and force this. Right, you know what? I'm going for it. Rook a4. What black is going to have to play here is queen takes rook. I believe that's the only way to fight for advantage. There we go. And then we'll take this. And after they take the other rook, I believe we should just take this. And material's equal, but again, I think it's going to be hard to activate those pieces. You can see the rook come here, but actually there's no need to move the knight yet. Okay, this knight moves. I really feel like I should just be going like here and here. Okay, let's just do that. Let's just threaten to go here and win a rook. I mean, it doesn't get more simple than that, to be honest. We can always put the knight here. Yeah, this is definitely the avenue of attack now. We're going in for the king, having simplified, hopefully to our advantage. I guess the knight could come back. But then, I mean, then we could go up here, to which we're threatening check, and like also, I guess, sliding across and trying to come in this way and check. I mean, this is the square we want to be on with our queen, but if the knight's here, that's going to be very hard to do. However, we can always play bishop takes. Yeah, I think we've now got a far more concrete position, or at least far more concretely winning position. Yeah, so the knight goes back. Now, if I play this move, threatening here, the king moves. Like, I go here, the rook moves, I go here. I think I am gonna do this. I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that this rook, this bishop rather, can't move, and therefore you can never connect the rooks. The king can't come off the back rank, and so if it's my move here, I go check, king e8, queen c7, rook a8, and then just knight b6, and I hit the rook and I hit the bishop. And if you move your rook back to here, I just take. Oh no, I don't, because the knight's here. But I can always take the knight. Is the point? That's the whole calculation. So I'm threatening check, king e8. I guess bishop takes first, or maybe queen here first. Whoa. I can do it. Check here. And if I take this and we see takes, and then I play this, that's fine. That's fine. I can take. You can't take this way because you lose the rook. You take this way, and I play this. Oh my days. And I hit your rook, and I hit mate. And it's just game. I don't even need to mess around with this knight b6 shenanigans. And so I'm going to take this rook for free. The king's going to come up to here. I can now play queen takes, pawn here, and I'm just completely winning. And then check. That's just the cherry on top, so to speak. We go check. Oh, free knight. Hung my knight, not quite. We win the rook, and that's game. Wow. Awesome game. Very kind of hard fought. My opponent is not resigning, which is, I mean, fair enough, but I guess we'll just clean up. How do I do this? Make him take the pawn, and then we'll just promote this. I mean, there's no reason not to. They're just going to resign now. There we go. Awesome game. Let's have a little look. Okay, here we are in the analysis. Let's go through the game. So, e4 and e5, knight f3, knight c6, and d4. So we played a scotch, went into the main line of the scotch here with queen f6, and then, as the computer is suggesting, I said c3 is the main line. However, knight b5 is part of my preparation, the Blumenfeld scotch. So, takes, and my opponent then plays this blunder here, queen takes on b2, to which you play knight c3, queen b4, knight takes, the king comes over here, and then queen d2. And this was the line that I was explaining during the video, or during the game rather, you're still watching the video. This was the line that I explained was my preparation. So I knew I was advantaged here. Rook b1 gets played, and I should have played knight b5. So I'll prepare that a little bit in my own time and look at the best line here. However, I played rook b1, the queen moved, and then I stepped back with the knight. But I've still got, you know, a 3.3 advantage. This is pretty strong. Knight comes here, bishop e2, actually best move, which is really encouraging, hopefully for the reasons I suggested. Knight takes, pawn takes, the knight goes back, d6, best move, which is awesome. I mean, it looks really strong, but already my advantage is creeping up and up and up, even though it's not completely obvious as to why. I mean, it is once you sort of think about black's piece activity, but material-wise, very similar. So the knight goes here, and then the engine initially suggested rook b5, also castling, but I castled. Whoa, I thought I played rook b5, but castling is the best move here. Okay, someone call me Stockfish. The pawn moves, and I played rook b5, and it was the best move. Okay, this is pretty cool. I'm feeling like this was actually a very, very good game of chess. It wanted rook f4 as well. Oh my days, and then a6, rook a4. So I found the best engine line. Queen takes, knight takes, pawn takes. Okay, then it wanted knight b6. This is where I then deviated from the best way to convert this position. But look, plus 8.1 with no material difference after bishop takes pawn here, plus 7.2, because these pieces are just horrible. And the king is so weak, and the dark square's here, and my queen is going to be so active. I mean, yeah, the knight moves. I should have gone straight in for this check, actually. I do not know why I didn't even think about that. I literally was looking to get onto this square, but I didn't even think about going for this check. Okay, that's a bit poor. However, knight goes back. I went for the queen up here, and then I should have gone across here. I guess to come... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. The rook moves off h7 to come in, take it, take this. Sorry about that. Yeah, if I'd played this, then, you know, I could have infiltrated here and come across and then taken on here after trading off the knight. That makes a lot of sense. However, I went for this check, which was, I think, a more forcing conversion, because after I then took best move, pawn takes, queen c7 best move, bishop here, obviously take the rook best move, take the pawn best move, and then I went for this check. It wanted queen c7 actually, but this check is just a cleaner way to convert, I think, because you can take here, they take the knight, and then queen e7, winning the rook, and this is just completely lost. I'd have expected my opponent to resign here, but they played a few more moves. I just went here, took the pawn, put my queen here, and effectively just pinned them to within these 3 squares, giving 3 squares just because you then can't really stalemate. And then the point is you're just going to pre-move this pawn up the board, make it a queen, and then play queen a8 checkmate while the king just oscillates back and forth like a hopeless Newton cradle. So I think that was actually one of the best games of chess I've played in my life. I'll be honest, I don't know why I played c3 and not c4 actually. Okay, that undermines the whole thing. It was rubbish. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was really instructional, because actually, if you look at this position here, where we had equal material, but, you know, black's position was just so cramped and so, like, unable to move that the eval was worth, you know, a rook and a couple pawns. That's pretty cool. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate a subscribe, like, comment, you know, shower me in praise, please, because it makes me feel nice. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.